travel boom from the Japanese and the South Koreans to the Chinese. Back in the 80s and the 90s, while Japan's population and so South Korea's is a lot smaller, the GDP per capita was a lot higher than where China's is today. Is that where the opportunity lies, in the fact that China is a fast emerging middle class population with relatively high economic growth? Is it? Oh, there you go.
Thanks. Yes, when we look at the population, China has 1.3 billion versus Japan has 100 million. So 13 times Japan's population and maybe 20 times Korea's population. There is great potential. When we look at the GDP per capita, as we discussed before, when the GDP per capita reaches 8,000 USD per person, we saw a huge pickup for outbound travel. So we are excited right now about 13 cities in China have reached that level. But China, we have millions of cities yet to come. So these are great potentials for us.
Comparing that population of 1.3 billion and the rest of the world, what is the average spend at the moment for Chinese tourists, and what is most important to them? I mean, is it the flight? Is it the hotel? Is it the experience and the destination that they're going to? Is it the food? Because, I mean, the trends across perhaps emerging and developed markets might be a little bit different.
So for Ctrip customers, we have very high-end customers. So some of you have heard the story. Every year we put together this global trip. It costs about 200,000 USD per person. Guess how long did it take us to sell these packages?
Minutes?
Minutes? Anyone else? 10 minutes? 17 seconds. Yeah, so you can tell when our team come up with this product, I was like, this is a marketing campaign, right? People who has the money won't have the time. People who have the time will not have the money. How can you sell this package? But when I heard back 17 seconds later, all the 22 packages were sold, it really let me rethink about the market, because the market is so huge. We have the tip of the consumers who can afford great trips. But we also have a middle class consumers who need good valued packages. And we also have students who just yet to want to explore the world with a very limited budget. So for Ctrip, we need to offer a comprehensive product which satisfies the customer's needs.
As China's economic growth, it's settled out at 6.8% in the last read, and the middle class is growing. What do you see happening in terms of the travel trends, both domestically and internationally, as Chinese travelers develop that taste for experiences?
I think both domestic market and international market will grow very fast. When we see people from the third-tier cities, fourth-tier cities, the first choice, they will come to Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen first. And then they will go to Hong Kong, Taiwan, and then Southeast Asia, North Asia, and then even further with the growth of their income. The second reason that's very promising is the visa restrictions by many countries are being lifted. It used to be very difficult for Chinese citizens to get their visas, but I'm very glad to see Singapore opened a 10-year visa, US opened a 10-year visa, and it's bilateral. It's not only good for outbound, it's also good for inbound travel as well. So I'm very excited about it.
Do you see that pushing Chinese travelers overseas more rather than domestic destinations eventually when these visa restrictions are lifted or liberalized?
Yeah, so depending on the income level, we see the people from the fourth-tier cities are still visiting domestically within China. And then the people from first-tier cities, state capitals, coastal area, where people are making good money, they start to travel more abroad.
Okay. Talking about technology, it's very interesting what you've done at Ctrip. I mean, you've literally created that one-stop shop for everybody. I mean, how have the Chinese travelers embraced that technology that you offer at Ctrip? I mean, are you seeing full adoption of all of the services that you provide?
Yes, we offer this wonderful 1 hour express lane. Basically, as long as your flight leaves in 1 hour, you can make the reservation. We will make the reservation, issue the ticket, get your boarding pass, get you on the plane within 1 hour. And it's only possible when your technology team is so strong. Nobody else in the whole world can do it. So yeah, the technology investment definitely is our strength. We'll keep it there. Right now, about 70 to 80% of the transactions are being conducted on our mobile.
And the big trend is artificial intelligence, virtual assistants, cognitive technology. You know, how much of a priority is that going to be for Ctrip?
I think the technology is always our priority. We have about 33,000 employees, 8,000 engineers. Very strong investment. We built the 11th floor as a hotel. When our engineers have to work overtime, overnight, they just sleep there. They take a shower, sleep in office. We create the environment for them. They can barefoot, walk wearing shorts in office, but the productivity for our engineers is very high.
You know, Ctrip has carved out, of course, a formidable position in the domestic market at the moment. I mean, that is your core business. But are you looking abroad in terms of your globalization efforts, and will you be able to replicate that success that you've had in China?
I think we always focus on our customer and offer whatever our customer want. As more and more Chinese customers are going abroad, their demand increase. The product will become more comprehensive. So instead of just ticket, hotel, they want to see Broadway shows, right? They want to go visit palaces. They want to have a local experience, wine tasting, a Michelin restaurant. They have a wonderful historical tour. So all that needs to be provided by our customer. So along with the customer, if we focus on where our customer goes, what they need, our business will naturally expand.
All right, Jane, thank you very much for talking to us today about your
Thank you.